So, what if you could teach an AI not just to answer a question, but to actually reason its way to the solution? Well, today we're diving into a technique that does exactly that. It's called chain of thought prompting. And believe me, it is a total game changer for solving complex problems. Let's break it down. Here's what we've got on tap. We're going to start with the standard way we prompt an AI, and then we'll get into the chain of thought breakthrough. We'll look at when you should use it, see the actual research that proves it works, and then we'll wrap up with a super simple trick you can start using right away. You probably solved this in your head, like instantly, right? But for an AI, getting to that answer involves a whole process. And it turns out the way we ask the question can totally change whether the AI is just guessing a pattern or if it's actually reasoning its way to the correct solution. This one little problem is the key to understanding everything. Okay, so to really get why this new technique is such a big deal, we first need to look at the classic approach. Until pretty recently, the main way to guide an AI was just by showing it a bunch of examples, a method that really took off around 2020. This is what's called shot prompting, and the core idea is really simple. You're just teaching the AI to recognize a pattern. You give it an input, you show it the output you want, and you just kind of hope it learns the connection. It's all about pattern matching. And this comes in three main flavors. You've got zero shot, where you just ask a question cold. Then there's one shot, where you give the AI a single example to follow, and few shot, where you give it several examples to really hammer that pattern home. And look, this works great for tasks like translation, but it totally falls apart when a problem requires actual logic. And that is where our main topic comes in. When simple pattern matching just isn't enough, we need to teach the AI not just what the answer is, but how to think. And this, my friends, is chain of thought, or COT for short. Honestly, this is the best analogy for it. Remember in math class when you couldn't just write down the final answer, you had to write out every single step you took to get there? You weren't just giving the solution, you were showing the reasoning process itself. That's exactly what this is. Now check out this comparison, because it makes it so clear. On the left, standard prompting just gives a question and a direct answer. It's a pattern. But on the right, chain of thought gives the same answer, but it includes that crucial little reasoning step. To find the share, divide 30 by 3. It's teaching the AI the process. So this right here, this is the blueprint for teaching it to think. By deliberately putting these reasoning steps into your examples, you're not just giving it a template for the answer, you're creating a template for the thought process itself. Okay, so when should you actually use this? I mean, it's a little more work, so you want to use it where it really, really counts, for tasks that require genuine reasoning. This chart breaks it down perfectly. You should use standard shot prompting for pattern recognition tasks, things like translation or figuring out if a review is positive or negative. But the second you hit a math problem, a logic puzzle, or any question that needs multiple steps, that's when you've got to switch over to chain of thought. Now, I want to be clear. This isn't just some clever trick somebody came up with on the internet. This is a technique that was born from serious academic research, and it demonstrates a massive leap forward in what AIs are capable of. And yeah, this didn't happen overnight. Back in 2020, a huge paper from OpenAI really put standard shot prompting on the map. But then, just 2 years later, in 2022, researchers at Google dropped the landmark chain of thought paper, and it revealed a way to unlock much, much deeper reasoning in these very same models. And this chart just says it all. The Google research team tested both methods on really complex reasoning problems. With standard prompting, the AI managed a 55% success rate. Not bad. But by simply showing the AI how to think step by step, the chain of thought method achieved an incredible 80% solve rate. That is a huge jump in performance. So what if you don't want to write out all those long examples? I get it. Well, it turns out there's an incredibly simple way to trigger this reasoning ability without providing any examples at all. Yeah, this is known as zero-shot code. You don't need a whole library of examples. You just need to add a few, magic words to the end of your prompt. Let's go back to our train problem. Here's how you'd normally ask it, right? It's a direct question, just a standard zero-shot prompt. And the AI gives you a direct answer. It's correct, which is great, but we have absolutely no idea how it got there. Did it actually reason it out, or did it just recognize a pattern from its training data? We can't be sure. Now, look at this. It is the exact same question, but with one simple phrase added at the end. Let's think step by step. And bam, the response is completely transformed. That simple little phrase acts as a trigger, and it forces the model to slow down and actually write out its entire reasoning process. It identifies the variables, it states the formula, it does the calculation, and then it gives the final answer. This is so much more reliable, especially for really complex problems. So if there's one thing you take away from all this, let it be this. Standard prompting teaches an AI to recognize patterns. It's focused on the what. Chain of thought prompting, on the other hand, teaches a process. It's focused on the how. And that's the difference between simple memorization and true understanding. By teaching our models to reason, we're not just getting better answers. We are unlocking the potential to solve much, much bigger challenges in science, in logic, and, well, beyond. And that brings us to the real question. Now that AI can actually show its work, what's next?